Well, hello YouTube, my name is Peter Stephen and welcome to my first review on the James Cameron series. Today, we're going to talk about a beautiful film called Sorry? Oh, well apparently I'm reviewing Piranha II, The Spawning. Did you know that Miller Drake was supposed to direct Piranha II, The Spawning, until the Italian producer decided to fire him? So the reasons are officially unknown, but this is his quote. "I didn't really like him, I don't think he was good enough for the movie. And it sounded like a Mario." James Cameron was originally hired as the special effects director until his mate left and he got the gig. This gave the Italian producer massive power and influence over the production. And this is not the only story, but we'll come back to that later. Wahoo! So what's the plot about? Well, our main characters are resort islanders who are faced with flying mutant piranhas. So let's talk about the characters, shall we? So we have Trisha O'Neill, who plays a scuba diving instructor who lives with her son in a hotel room. Their relationship is a little awkward, I would say. I'll let the picture speak for itself. Too close? Yeah, that's what I thought. We also have her ex-husband, played by Lance Henriksen, who plays the chief of police. Steve Marchuk attempts to seduce Trisha O'Neill's character, but has a secret agenda. We also have tons of secondary characters, but they're so over the top that I refuse to spend any more breath or saliva on them. Look guys, I'm going to be very honest with you, I'm going to be very straightforward, and I'm going to say right off the bat, this movie is very bad. Ooh, it's bad. It's actually quite awful. The first movie originally wasn't a masterpiece by all means, but it was a decent rip-off of Jaws. Now that was a big trend at the time, you know, monster in the water, monster eating people. Okay, what shall we do? Hollywood. Piranhas. Yep, that was the idea for the first movie. And actually, Joe Dante did a pretty good job with it. It's a decent watch. But this one, I mean, it has nothing going for it except that piranhas now fly. That could be funny, but it wasn't funny. This ended up being a half serious, half comedic film, which makes it very awkward and boring, actually. Very boring watching Piranha II, The Spawning. Yeah. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty gossip of this production, because it sounds like a nightmare. James Cameron had no power over this movie. He claims that he got fired after 2.5 weeks in production. This is James Cameron's quote. "He fired me and took over, which is exactly what he wanted to do when he hired me in the first place." Whoa! James Cameron saw an early cut of his movie and he was appalled. He nearly had a nervous breakdown. He really wanted to dissociate his name from this movie, but he couldn't. Due to contract reasons, his name had to stay on the credits. And because the Italian producer needed an American name to attract audiences, what was done was done. Look, this movie is not a total train wreck. Although I wouldn't recommend it, far from it. The underwater scenes are well shot, well lit, and has great suspense. The music is quite inspired and quite impactful, and it works fine for the movie. And our dear Lance. James Cameron uses Lance Henriksen all the time in nearly all of his movies, and he's very charismatic and great to watch. However, his character is a pale imitation of Brody in Jaws, and that is obvious. The main issue I have with this movie is the clash in tone. The main characters play it straight, very serious, and very gritty, very real. And the secondary characters are over the top, goofy, and stupid, and are completely irrelevant to the plot, which produces this very odd mixture in tone. It does not work, especially when you're talking about flying piranha, for goodness sake. You expect something funny, goofy, over the top, and completely stupid. James Cameron originally wanted to make a comedy, something like a satire, a tongue-in-cheek movie, but it clearly did not work because he had no control over the movie. The special effects have not aged that well. I mean, what can you do with flying piranha? The great thing that came out of this movie is that James Cameron was ill. Well, that wasn't great. He had feverish nightmares, and he described one nightmare in particular. A metal skeleton rising from the fire. Now you can pretty much guess what that is and what inspired him to make his new film. Thank you so much for watching, guys. You can find me on Twitter and Facebook at Kritikeyes, and I shall see you very soon. Alright?